So can you see the screen? Yeah. Okay, yeah. You need to let me know if I ask a question because I can't see if I'm sharing. Okay. So let's begin with this presentation. So here we just wanted to show you a picture of some of our high school students from 2 years ago. I believe this picture is from 2 years ago, and this was like the final dinner that they had, and we just wanted to show like how happy they were, and some of the beautiful landscape that you get to see here in Monteverde. So I want to welcome you to this presentation, but mainly to like this adventure that we hope you get to join us. So my name is Pablo Allen. I'm the center director here at CIE Monteverde. And joining us here are two other on-site staff members, and I'll let them introduce themselves. We can start with Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jessica Arias. I am the academic director right now. However, I was instructor for the Women in STEM program for the last 2 years. So I get a lot of good experiences from the program and the students, and I'm super happy that you're interested in joining in this adventure this upcoming year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Carlos Calderon, but I go by Moncho. I'm the student life manager at CIE Monteverde, and I have been working closely with the high school groups for the last 2 years. So I have a lot of experience also with this program.
Okay, great. Let's go on. Well, here you can see a map of Costa Rica with its topography, and you can see the mountains running right here in the middle, and you can see that Monteverde is right there in the middle of the mountains. It's in a mountain peak where the cloud forest lies, and this is where you would get to come. This is called the San Luis Valley. This is where the campus is, and the campus is not here. It's over this hill, right over here. On the other side of this hill, you can find the campus, but my house is right here, so you can actually see where I live, because I live right here, really close to the campus. Okay, let's keep coming. So some of the great reasons why to come to the Monteverde program, right, is, living right at the edge of the cloud forest. Here we're in the foothills of the cloud forest, so we're really close. If you want to go to the top, it's only like a 15 to 20-minute ride, but sometimes the clouds descend on us. So it is literally, sometimes you do get the cloud forest effect. And obviously you are really close to all the natural wonders that are in the area, waterfalls, the animals, all sorts of stuff. Also, you get to live on our campus, which really thrives on being like a sustainable campus with a lot of sustainable practices. You can really see how to have a different lifestyle, kind of integrating conservation of forests and also learning about sustainable practices. And even you get to join us with our farm animals. You get to participate. You get to milk cows. They have to be milked every day at 7 a.m. I don't know if Nora did that, but you can go every day. Marlon wants some help every day. He's out there. And then, we also have pigs and chickens, and we can show you how that all is integrated in our farm system. And then we also Monteverde is a very safe place. So you do not need to worry about that. I mean, we're always with our eyes open, but it's a very safe place. So some of the highlights of our campus, I know for Monteverde in general, we have great food. We have a lot of like traditional dishes, but we also sometimes serve some like comfort foods like pizza and like grilled cheese sandwiches, burgers, stuff like that. But then we also have options for vegetarians or lactose intolerant. We do the best we can, which is a lot, to be able to satisfy those needs. Also, another great thing here is the language. You get to practice Spanish. There are classes, but you can also practice it, whenever you want. All of our staff, which is, like 30 people, we are all Costa Ricans. We all speak Spanish as our first language. And so you just need to start talking to us in Spanish and you'll get us going. So plus, on top of that, you will get Spanish classes, which for both programs, like Women in STEM and Climate Change Mitigation, students are divided in 3 groups depending on your level. And then that way, you can be in a classroom with everybody at the same level. Other interesting things is that there's a big community of Quakers that came here in the 50s during the Korean War, and you can get a lot of history from them. You can get a lot of like the Monteverde history, and also from the families that established the first settlements here in Monteverde like 100 years ago. And also, I think that we are very friendly people here, all the staff and in general Costa Ricans. So you will also get to enjoy that. So let's keep going. So what are great things about learning about environmental science here in Monteverde? Environmental science, right? The Women in STEM specific objective and also climate change mitigation is that you get to work in small groups of students. So, you get a lot of attention. Then all the speakers and the teachers are maybe not born here, but know really well the area. They're locals, even like some of the people from the US that have, adopted Monteverde as their home. They're great and they love living here, and they're ready to talk to us about conservation or sustainable farming or any other thing. Monteverde is a small, no, it's not a small place. It's big because of all the forest and all the stuff, but the population is small. But there's a ton of tourists and there are a ton of people that come here and then fall in love with the place and stay. So you'll definitely get the chance to talk to local experts from the US or from the Netherlands, for example, that just have adopted Monteverde as their home. So you also get diversity on that. And then another thing that I'm really proud of is that we really get to combine our lesson plans in which we really coordinate really well, our excursions with our classes, so that we have some classes, but then we also do a lot of outside activities. And then we also get to go outside of campus to see firsthand all these practices that we're talking about. So some of the activities that you will get to enjoy while being here, we have cooking classes. You'll get to go to some of the tourist attractions and some of the reserves for which Monteverde is well known, like the world famous Cloud Forest, Monteverde Cloud Forest Reserve, cooking classes, dance classes, sports. Some students, like to play soccer, others volleyball or basketball. I definitely know that I'm always listening to balls hitting walls and trees and stuff like that. So I know that students are out there enjoying themselves. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you get to live firsthand a lot of our sustainable practices, which includes, that we produce like 20% of the food that we consume. And, we are, every year we grow that number. So you'll definitely be living in a way more sustainable way. And then also that as I will highlight again, how we really try to incorporate all of the activities that we do with what we have learned in the classes. So, those are some of the highlights of our program. And then I want to remind you guys that if you finish your application by December 1st, then you get a chance to win a free flight. That's important, very important. and that also that you can save $200 if you start your application through an alumni referral link. So I think that is it. And here we have a beautiful picture of a coati, which is an animal that is the cousin of a raccoon, and they are way more curious than a raccoon. I don't know if Nora had any interactions with them, but they're definitely very curious animals that are always looking for the scraps that we leave. And with that, I will leave it. I'll open it up for questions. So I will stop sharing my screen.
So Pablo, do you want to answer the two questions that Maria had about the airport and also the ages of participants?
Yes. So the airport, that was the question about, like, where you will fly into or where you will fly from. I was a little
From in the US, no, I understand there's like a hub airport where the students are gathered and travel to you.
So there are usually like 3 or 4 airports. So it's not one. It depends on where you live, but usually students will fly to like Houston or Charlotte or Miami or New York. I don't think it's always the same airports. I think it depends where multiple students are coming from. So whatever one of these airports is closest to you, then they can fly in that and then come as a group from the United States with a chaperone from in that particular airport.
Thank you.
Yes, so Maria, usually it's around spring that you will receive information about group flights. So the group flights are the ones that have a chaperone, and they leave from a usually large airport from the US. So that information will be given to you in the spring.
Yeah, and about the ages, this year we're definitely expecting ages to be, mostly around 15 and 16. But I think this year, sorry, I keep saying last year. I think this year we had 1 or 2 14-year-olds. If I remember correctly, maybe 1 in each session. But the age, but I think that the average age expected this year is around there, between 15 and 16.
Thank you.
And Brooke wants to know about a little bit about the classes they take.
So let me talk a little bit about, so I was actually the instructor for climate change mitigation 2 years ago, not this year, but last year. And, so it depends on, I can talk to you about that program, and then maybe Jessica can talk about women in STEM. But, our classes center around what is climate change, what are the strategies to mitigate climate change, and then we do this in a very interactive way, right? So we're not going to be in a classroom for 3 hours. That's never our goal. Our goal is to, have 45 minutes to an hour and then go out and do some activities, maybe come back for a discussion, and then go out again. And I guess, you know, women in STEM have the similar how to say structure. But we also go out to different places in Monteverde. We visit different organizations. We go to a we go to a community garden, and we also we go to community garden. Actually, I think that's part of volunteer hours, but there's also some learning objectives within. Again, we always try to mix that up. And I don't know if Jessica wants to add something regarding women in STEM.
Well, yeah, as you said, the structure is pretty much the same. We usually do indoor activities like classes a little bit, and then mainly outside activities. We do also volunteer work. However, women in STEM, in the program, we have a focus on like empowering young girls, show them the diversity of careers that are out there, but also we keep a focus on conservation and biology and natural resources through the different experiences that we do. We also do lab work. We work on river ecology, for example, so using a little bit of technology and microbes and things like that. So the students get a little bit of each STEM field. So I don't know if maybe Nora would like to add on something like that, since she was my student this year. So about something that you like from the classes, or what were the classes about?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm really interested in environmental science and just like science in general. So that's why I like signed up for this particular program. And it was really cool to like actually be there. And I learned a lot of like the concepts like in environmental science, some of which I'd heard of before, some of which I hadn't. And then for me, like my favorite part was when we actually got to like apply the learning. So like usually there would be like a lecture in the morning, and then like in the afternoon we would do some sort of like activity that was usually like outside, or like a couple times we went to the lab. And like I remember one time we like walked to a river that was nearby, and we like collected macroinvertebrates and then brought them back to the lab and looked at them under the microscopes. And that was like really cool because it was very like hands-on. So we connected it back to like what we learned that morning, but it was also like we got to walk around campus and like go to the river, and I don't know, it was really fun, and then go to the lab afterwards. So I think overall my favorite part was really the hands-on learning, because like again, like I really like environmental science, but it's like so much cooler to learn it when you're like actually like experiencing it. And so that was like really special for me to actually be there and apply what I was learning.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you for sharing your experience here.
And I can answer the question about vaccination. Well, kind of. If there is where did I have my information? Here. If you're referring to COVID, if you're referring to COVID, we CIE, so this is not a Costa Rica rule, this is a CIE rule. We expect all of our participants to be fully vaccinated against COVID. And then if there are exceptions, and you can request an exception if you wish to do so. But then that will go through a process and it has to be approved. And there are other recommended vaccinations like from the CDC, but we usually like from the CDC to come to Costa Rica, but most of them are not. I think all the ones that they say are not necessary for Monteverde. So yeah, I think that's it regarding vaccinations.
Oh, there's a question for Nora about the living situation, or I guess your accommodations, the bungalows.
Yeah, so I had 3 roommates and yeah, in the bungalows. So there were bunk beds and we had like a bathroom attached to the bungalow. And personally, and I think like most people agree with me, I really liked the bungalows. Like they're really nice rooms and they're pretty close to everything also. And I also really liked my roommates. Like we became really good friends and we're still in touch. And I actually just like met up with them in New York City like a month ago. So that was really fun. And yeah, I think it was like it was really nice to like have people like living with you that are like also in the program with you because then you can like talk about what you're learning and stuff and then also just make friends. So it's really fun. And I definitely think it was like a very comfortable living situation too.
Do you want to describe, Nora, like besides the bungalows, like how the campus is set up?
Yeah, so there are a few like buildings for the bungalows, and then pretty close by is where like you eat. And then in that same like building, there's also a library there. And then there's like a little like outside. I honestly forget all the names of these places, but then there definitely are names. But yeah, then there's an outside where you can just like sit and like hang out. And then also close by, everything's pretty close, like especially to like our bungalows we were staying. They're like the classroom buildings. So and then close to there, there's a lab. And then there's also the rec room, which is really close to the bungalows too. So that's just where you can like hang out when there's free time or like there are like sometimes like meetings with your program at the end of the day where you like reflect on everything you're learning. So sometimes we would hang out there and there's like a foosball table and like outside there's a basketball court and like volleyball. So it's really fun.
Thank you, Nora. Yeah, we have a lot of different names for all the buildings. You are right. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of the names. So let me keep answering some of the questions. Yeah, so there are 2 programs, climate change mitigation, and then women in STEM in environmental science, which that's the new name of the program. And they are both, they both occur at the same time. And students, you know, share meals, let's say. So climate change mitigation students and women in STEM students are there and they share meals and they will do similar extracurricular activities, but not together, right? So we do have the programs obviously together. They have different learning objectives and the co-curricular activities are different. But for the most part, you know, both programs occur in parallel at the same time on campus, as I just said. And there's definitely, I think, sorry if I'm wrong, but maybe, well, no, because there were a lot of students, we had the dance classes at different times, different days, so that they would not be all in the rec room having dance classes. But yeah, so you will see the other students from the other program, but only, you know, maybe playing soccer will be at the same time together and the meals. And the another question is, how many girls for the STEM program? So that is a great question, but right now we have, if I remember correctly, for each session, we have a maximum of 30. And if I'm not sure, one has 25 and the other one's 30. And if we do have 30, we will split in two groups. We will split like in two sections, let's say, if we do have 30 or around that number. If that's the question, I'm not sure if that was a question.
Brooke, did Pablo answer your question? So classes are small, and one thing is that besides the local instructors and the local staff, the groups also have what we call the program leader, which is usually a US teacher. So it's somebody from the US that will travel with students and be there with them in the activities. And usually the ratio is maybe 1 to 12 to 15 students. So it's a pretty small groups.
Can I ask an additional question?
Sure.
Yeah. So my daughter speaks Spanish, and I was wondering if you thought, you know, that the language classes are a big value to this program, and in that case, if she maybe should consider SAI programs. I mean, the whole programming of the class is amazing. She would love it. But I wonder if you thought that the language part of it, it's like a big part of it, and then she would probably should consider ranking other programs that would add other language that would be more beneficial to her.
How many hours of language class is there, Pablo, in the 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting the question.
Yeah, maybe Jessica remembers. It's like not 10, less than 10 hours.
Yeah, we usually say 6 hours. So
Yeah,
6 hours of language class in 3 weeks. So it's like almost.
Yeah.
The whole 3 weeks is 6 hours. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So language class is not a big part of the program.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, it's definitely a component, but like volunteer hours, right? So there's volunteer hours, there's Spanish hours, and definitely Spanish is less hours than volunteer hours, right? So it's not, it's you know, it's a small component, and there will be a level of Spanish speakers, to call it that, right? As we had, I know because we had it in all of our sessions, and you know they had, I think they used it as a very say, to gather information in Spanish. They definitely enjoyed it, but because I heard a lot from the students, but definitely not the objective. The classes are in English, speakers are in English, and it's just a you know, one more factor.
Thank
one
you.
more component.
Thank you. I imagine it would be an advantage to speak Spanish when you're out in the community talking to some of the people that you meet in farms or women in STEM. I know that there were some in the summer visiting different programs that women did, like a cosmetic farm and so forth. So being able to speak in Spanish with the locals would be, I think, a great thing.
Yeah, like just to, when I was the instructor, and I know this activity, we did it also this year. We go to a farm that's close by. He's a neighbor, and we translate. We translate for the students. So definitely, I remember some of the students, just talking directly in Spanish to the farmer, and then we're translating for the students and the farmer. So definitely, it doesn't hurt, right? It will give you some added value, and also, to go to going to the supermarket or anything like that. But again, Monteverde, there again, is a very touristy area. We get a lot of tourism, and people here speak English. Most of the people in souvenir shops, restaurants, stuff like that. Um, so there's definitely, it's like you can do either one. You can practice talking Spanish all the time, or just do it in English. It's one of the great things about Monteverde.
So for the attendees, I'm curious if any of you already started an application. I'm asking because Nora could share maybe your referral link and you get the $200 discount using her link. There it is in the chat. So if you use that link, you get a $200 discount. Is there something, Nora, that you wish you had known before going to Monteverde?
I mean, definitely be like open-minded. Like, I mean, that applies to any trip that you could go on, or like, yeah, really, because it's like, if you're open-minded, then you're going to have the best experience. You're going to learn so much more, and really learn to like appreciate everything around you. So that really, like, I had an amazing experience overall, and I think that contributed to it. And I had a friend who, before I went on a CIE trip, my friend had went on one. So I had like, I don't know, I talked to her a lot before then, like asked for advice, and yeah, really just asked like how to prepare and stuff and like that. So I definitely think that like talking to someone who has studied abroad before will like help you feel better before actually traveling. Like if you want to talk to me, I'm always happy to, like, I can give you my, like, I don't know, contact information if you like need to reach out before traveling.
That's so nice, Nora. Thanks. Great advice. I have one more question for you, Nora. What was the coolest animal that you saw there?
The tapir, or like taper, I don't know how to, I always would say it wrong, but it was so cool. We didn't actually know if we would see it or not, and we did. And like, yeah, it was really cool. We were like went on like a night hike, like specifically looking for them, and we ended up like seeing one, and we were all like being quiet, and like we had to like run to different corners of the woods to try and spot it. It was really cool.
Yeah, so like 4 years ago, I was in Rio Celeste with my kids. This was at 8:30 in the morning, so it's unusual. We're walking and we see one right in front of us, and they're kind of big. And so we first is like, cool. And then we were like, wait, what do we know about this animal? Is it vegetarian? Is it dangerous? Do we worry? Like we like knew that we like knew nothing about the animal, but yeah, very cool. Nora, and do you have any particular recommendation for students coming over in terms of clothing, for example? What should they bring for sure. We're providing a packing list, but any thoughts from your end in that regards?
Yeah, definitely the rain pants or like hiking pants of some sort. I didn't think that I brought them just kind of last minute, threw them in my suitcase. I did not think I would wear them. I wore them like almost every day. Like they were very useful. It rains like a lot. And like that was totally fine with me, but I probably would have been a little upset if I hadn't brought those rain pants and like a rain jacket and an umbrella. Like bring all the rain gear because you'll be more comfortable that way. And then also bring a lot of socks, like warm socks, because I didn't really bring enough socks and that got pretty uncomfortable at one point.
And talking about packing, right now it's sort of like a informational, people that are interested in the programs. Once you apply and you're accepted in the spring, closer to travel, Monteverde, Pablo, Moncho, Jessica, some of you will do another one of these webinars with more specific information about logistics, packing list, and more specific questions that people will have before traveling. All right, any other questions?
No, thank you. This was an amazing presentation. It was great that you brought Nora and everyone, and Jessica, Pablo. Thank you so much. I want to go, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know.
I have to be the daughter.
Yeah. What's the age limit of above? Not